There's so much to love about life here. For instance, right now, the mid-morning stroll across the Ponte Vecchio. Florence is full of daily magic. And living here, honestly, it's the dream. The history, the coffee, the food, that daily rhythm of life. It's just so enjoyable. But the expat lifestyle isn't all pizza and vino. Even magic has its dark side. It's the separation of distance, 16,000 kilometres, 10,000 miles away from my family, my adult children, and my memories. It's where I came from, my roots. The barbecues on a Sunday afternoon, heading down the coast for a surf. Sure, we WhatsApp and keep in touch that way. But you know what? It's those Sunday lunches, the birthdays, the hugs. They're the things you do miss as an expat. So the expat life teaches you to balance two things at once: the thrill of discovery and the ache caused by the distance. Even with video calls and group chats, it's never quite the same. There are days where I feel a world away, because I am. And that's the part of expat life that people don't always see. You experience and gain so much, but it does come with a cost. In 2017, I packed my life up in Melbourne, Australia, and boarded a one-way flight to Beijing to begin an international teaching adventure. It was a bold move, new culture, new language, new everything, and honestly, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. 5 years later, towards the end of COVID, the journey took me across continents to here, Florence, Italy. And these experiences do shape you, personally and professionally. Living and working abroad is exciting, enriching, and constantly eye-opening. Living the expat life is an opportunity, full of colour and unforgettable chapters. I've seen the world from different angles and met people who have changed me and walked paths I've never imagined I would. But here's the honest part, the part that doesn't get posted as often, and that's the distance. It's not always easy being far from the people you love most. Now, I'm not looking for sympathy or accolades, I'm just sharing the truth of it. Being a world away from the kids in Melbourne is the hardest part. The time differences, the missed dinners, the milestone moments that happen without you, the real emotional distance from home. It's a quiet ache that sits beside the joy. Now, I chose this life, but I do carry my family with me, always. Because no matter where I go, Beijing, Florence, or beyond, home isn't just a place. Home is the people I love and the stories we share, even from afar. So my message, if you're thinking of living abroad, following that expat dream, just know, yes, the world opens up, but your heart is stretched too. Expat Lifestyle with Babs. Share with a friend, give me a like, and subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you enjoy this episode. And are you ready to travel back to Melbourne? Let's go. It's a long trip, so strap yourselves in. Andiamo, let's go. Now I must admit, I love Changi Airport, Singapore. It's just so futuristic. After several months of living and working abroad, here I am, back in Melbourne. Look, it's a long trip down under, over 30 hours from Italy, Northern Hemisphere to Southern Hemisphere. Northern Hemisphere summer to a Southern Hemisphere winter. So look, Italy at the moment, it's pretty brutal in terms of heat. High 30s, up near 100 degrees Fahrenheit, coming into a Melbourne winter, which is quite temperate really. 12 to 13 degrees Celsius, what's that, mid 50s Fahrenheit. It's so good to be home to see my loved ones, my adult kids. Children, they've grown into amazing adults, independent, funny, busy. So this trip is all about catching up and spending time together over coffee, evening meals, and perhaps even sneaking in a game of Australian rules football to watch my team, Collingwood, the Magpies. So stay tuned for that. So it's all about spending time together. That's the magic of this trip. Hey, I'll see you in the morning. Right, so introductions. My son's dog, Zeus. He's a big fella. He's about 155 pound, about 70 kilo, about my weight. So if he decides to go, I've got to be on my toes, put it that way. Funny story, last time I was here in Melbourne, took him for a walk, and this dog off a lead just bounded up towards him, and the big fella here wanted to go and play. He just took off, and I sort of jogged with him a little bit inexperienced, and then braced to try and pull him back. And look, I went flying through the air like Superman, holding on to the lead. I landed on the shoulder, the hip, the left side, and slid along the ground, I think for about, it felt like 2 or 3 meters before I was able to pull him in. Very embarrassing. Look, if someone had videoed that, it would have gone viral for sure. So the moral to the story, I got back to Florence and started to watch Caesar, the dog whisperer from the US, just to get a little bit more confidence myself. But look, he's a gentle soul, he really is. And he loves me being back in Melbourne because in the morning he wakes me up, take me for a walk, please. We're staying just up the road. By the way, this is where I grew up, in Maribyrnong in Melbourne. The Flemington race course just over there, the race that stops the nation, like one of the Triple Crown horse races in the US, I guess. And I really do enjoy getting out for a walk with the dogs. My 3 children, they've all got a dog each too, so they're expecting me to drop by and take their dogs for a walk, because currently they're all at work still. Okay, let's keep moving on. And by the way, the flight here, it's normally a long one, extra long this year. So our travel to Melbourne from Florence, we got to the airport and we were told that we might not be allowed on the plane to fly to Frankfurt to get our international flight. Europe is in a heat wave, and because the Florence runway is short, they needed to offload people, maybe even luggage too, to ensure that the plane was able to take off, because in the heat the air density is lower and lift is compromised apparently, laws of physics. Fortunately, we were able to get on the plane. Mind you, about half the plane had been offloaded at that stage, so we were quite lucky in that respect. Now we got to Frankfurt an hour and a quarter later, minus 3 pieces of luggage, which was a disaster, because we're leaving for Melbourne midday the following day. And they did tell us right there and then it won't get back to us. I did get an email later that night saying our luggage has been delivered to Zurich, so not much help there, we're in Frankfurt. Anyway, long story short, 21 hours plus transit later, we arrived in Melbourne with only my suitcase. So minus carry-on luggage and another large piece of luggage with all of my wife's clothing. Fortunately, that all arrived on Wednesday, so several days later. We were worried, you know, because our apartment keys for the apartment in Florence, both sets of keys were in our carry-on luggage and so on, so we're sort of thinking long term we're going to have some issues. Okay, so it's all good now, fortunately. The carrier, Lufthansa, so I'm not a big fan actually. We've had some issues with them previously. I don't want to stick the boots into them, but these are the facts. So this area of Melbourne is along the Melbourne River. This is a suburb where I grew up in. So I spent many hours along the river here, sometimes even fishing, riding my bike and so on. It's a lovely little area of Melbourne now with the bike tracks and running tracks and so on. It wasn't quite developed like this when I was a kid, but it's always wonderful to get back to this area and reminisce a little bit. And Zeus here, he loves a morning walk. As I said earlier, he's not too bashful in coming in to wake me up and, come on, old fella, let's go for a walk. And I must admit, I do enjoy getting out with him, starting the day, perhaps a little bit earlier than I had anticipated. My kids have definitely inherited my love of fitness, and my son's even got a pretty slick little triathlon setup going on. The Wahoo trainer, the desktop that displays cadence, power, heart rate, as well as racing against anyone in the world. Finish it off, that flat screen TV. I'm a bit envious, just quietly, regarding expat life. Just know this, the adventure is real, the growth is powerful, but the distance, that's real too. And learning how to hold both is part of the journey and possibly your journey. So if you're living abroad and missing your people, your family, just know, short little visits like this can fill your cup in the biggest way. Hey, thanks for coming along for this particular journey. So we're heading to the MCG, Melbourne Cricket Ground. It's the Australian rules football match tonight. My team, our team. Our team. Collingwood the Pies. Let's go Pies.
Go the Pies.
Expat Lifestyle with Babs. If you've enjoyed this episode, share with a friend. Expat Lifestyle with Babs. And if you've enjoyed this episode,
Share with a friend. Give us a like.
and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you next episode. Ciao.
Pies. Let's go.